who is going to be the first team to take over in CS2? It's a tricky thing to predict. The beginnings of this iteration of Counter-Strike are very different from previous iterations. The state of the game isn't great, and competition is stiffer than ever. The first taste of professional CS2 is like a week away, and the first major just a few short months. Everyone's grinding, and rumors are swelling, but who's gonna come out on top? Okay, so before we get into it, are you already sick of CS2 Premier? Good, me too. So why not try our FACEIT clan? You can join me, your friends, and the rest of our community as we grind the leaderboards, win FACEIT points, and spend them in the FACEIT shop on cool things like skins. It's totally free to join, you just need to make a FACEIT account, so check out the link in the description below. Okay, so professional CS2. God, what a weird thing to say. CSGO is done. It's gone. Forever. Officially. For better or for worse, Valve has switched all of us over to Counter-Strike 2, including the pros. Now, to be clear, forcing the switch was the right move, insofar as it was the only move. At some point, we were going to have to bite the bullet, whether or not the game was ready. Just would have been nice if the bullet had actually registered, you know? Suffice it to say, CS2 is not ready for competitive play. It is not even really ready for casual play. In fact, it's not really ready at all, which, as Device recently observed, is okay for right now. The game does feel really bad. Like, there's no point in sugarcoating it. Everything from the peeker's advantage to the movement to the hit reg. Oh, don't get me started on the hit reg. I have moments where I just watch a bullet go through someone's head, see it not register, and think, how? And then other times, I'll feel like I'm missing their heads and watch as I just rack up kill after kill. Now, Valve did just release an update that apparently improves the hitbox issue, but full disclosure, I haven't had a chance to try it yet, and we'll see how much of a difference it makes. Anyway, this is not a video about how not ready CS2 is. I mean, it's not entirely about that. It's about how it's going to affect the pro scene. Right now, it is fair to say that professional Counter-Strike is probably more up in the air than at any point in its 10-year history, which may seem obvious, but keep in mind, the last time we switched from one Counter-Strike to another, esports wasn't even a glimmer of what it is today. The reason you had such immediate, uncontested dominance from the likes of NIP and even Very Games is because the scenes were so much smaller. Forrest and Get Right were gods of 1.6, and Kenny S and Shocks and RPK were the best sourcers in the world. Two teams vying for total control of global offensive wasn't actually that unexpected. But now, it's anyone's for the taking. Now, there are certain rosters who are, let's say, primed to be extremely strong right out of the gate. For starters, the rumored Falcons roster. For those who don't know, a rumor emerged late last week that the Saudi Arabian esports organization Team Falcons were looking to build a fucking state-of-the-art super team that allegedly included Nico, Twists, Munisi, Dupree, Magisk, and Ouroboros. Because, of course, the super teams have worked out so well for Nico in the past.
As Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
Memes aside, would this roster be insane? Oh, of course, absolutely. But I think we'd be jumping the gun if we just assumed that they would be like the #1 straight gunner right out of the gate. First of all, the roster isn't real yet. Second of all, the guns don't even work in CS2. Let's cool it on which mega roster is going to take over the game. For now, let's talk about excellent rosters that do exist, like Vitality. They just won a major, their roster is finally clicking the way we always hoped it would, and I mean, you know, they have ZywOo, who is statistically, right now, the best Counter-Strike player in the world. Now, to be fair, they did sort of disrupt their chemistry by dropping Dupree in favor of Flamesy, who could end up becoming one of the game's next great superstars. Only time will tell. That said, they also just lost Zonic, which was really stupid, just no upside to that at all. So we'll have to see how things pan out. Then you've got a roster like FaZe, who are basically just always and forever in a position to dominate. Not only has Rops been labbing CS2 like f***ing crazy, but these are seasoned, accomplished, world-class Counter-Strikers with near perfect synergy. Sure, they may not win every tournament, but you can never count out a group of competitors such as this. They'll always be top tier. It's just a question of how top tier. From there, I think it actually gets pretty uncertain pretty fast. For starters, Na'Vi. I don't know, man. I'm really happy that they made the recent Pro League final, and I think it's great for the overall storylines of professional CS that they got a nice little confidence boost coming out of Global Offensive. Simple hasn't been mincing words when it comes to his ill opinion of the current state of CS2, but that doesn't mean that he will not continue to be God's gift to Counter-Strike. For me, the question isn't really whether Simple will return to form, but rather whether Na'Vi as a whole thrives as an international roster. So far, they seem to be progressing faster than anticipated, so let's hope they keep it up. G2 are a weird one. Nico looks determined to finally start winning shit consistently, and m0NESY is just on another fucking tier of up-and-coming talent, but the roster as a whole just feels very coin-flippy. It's also worth noting that of all the rosters that I've mentioned thus far, G2 are the only one who still have something to prove vis-a-vis winning a major, which carries a ton of weight when it comes to grinding a whole new game. From here on out, let's be honest, it's a crapshoot. Now, I would have said that Heroic are shoo-ins to be great, but their recent extremely shocking decision to part ways with Cadian has thrown their top tier status into question. In fact, should Cadian decide to join, I don't know, let's say Liquid, take over opping from OC, take over IGLing from Yeki, bring Stan with him maybe, he could maybe, just maybe turn Liquid into a winning roster. Who knows, man? These are weird times we live in, which honestly sums up just about every roster evaluation at this point. MOUZ, for instance, just won Pro League, which is sick. We love that for them. But keep in mind, a lot of the truly top tier teams were already sort of admittedly moving on from CSGO and onto CS2. Does that mean that MOUZ are all of a sudden an elite roster? I mean, probably not, insofar as they're no more or less elite than the Fnatics, Furias, Cloud9s, Virtus Pros, etc. I think you can see where I'm going with this, which is that Counter-Strike esports has become so evolved since the advent of Go that it's no longer possible to single out even 2 or 3 rosters that are just going to dominate straight out of the gate, which is really exciting. I, like many others, am so psyched to see the pros duke it out on this brand new busted ass battlefield. Who knows what's gonna happen? Who's gonna be good? Who's gonna be bad? For how long? It's a toss-up, which is great. It makes for some really exciting Counter-Strike. I know what you're thinking. So the takeaway, Dimitri, is you have no idea who's gonna be great. Yeah, pretty much. No one does. And it's awesome. We have no idea how different or similar CS2 is going to feel to CSGO 3 or even 6 months down the line. Will it feel more similar to CSGO than Go did to either Source or 1.6? Yes, unquestionably. But it will be different. Maybe the op won't be as good. Maybe the utility changes will take a lot more getting used to than we thought. Maybe the shotguns will worm their way into the meta. Who knows? But it'll be really interesting to see how it pans out. IEM Sydney kicks off in less than a week, and truthfully, none of us know what to expect. It's safe to say that it'll probably be a disaster, but it'll be a super informative, super interesting, and indeed super fun disaster. Fun for us, not for the players. It'll suck for them. It's funny too, because I'm not a fan of mixed drinks at all, but hot toddies just hit different, bro. I like a late night hot toddy. Oh, maybe I'll make one now. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, a little bourbon, a little lemon, a little honey. Yeah. 9:35 in the morning. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, barely.